Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is You as a Whole, Body, Mind, and Soul. And I am filling in for a couple of months for Justin MIRIGLIANI. This is his show. And our topic today is From Chaos to Calm, the Inner Peace of Decluttering. So I just want to welcome you, and please do subscribe to our channels. We have two, and I'll talk more about that at the end of the show. But I thought this was a great topic to talk about because here in the States, we are going from one month to the other. It's now September the 1st here in the States. I know in other parts of the world, it's September the 2nd. And we're also going into a new season. So the summer is concluding and people are going back to school, back to work, vacations are over. So it's a good time to look at decluttering. And the reason I feel this is important is because many times in our life, we feel chaotic. We feel out of control. We feel highly emotional. And if we looked at our surroundings, they could very well be mirroring what it is that we're feeling inside. So when we look today at our topic, we're going to be looking at why decluttering matters and what are the areas of our life where we really can find that there is clutter. And I'm talking about physical clutter as well as other types of clutter. So one of the first areas is in stress. We're feeling stressful, we're feeling overwhelmed, we're feeling that we are limited in our personal and physical space as to where we can go and what we can do. And we also feel a very big emotional weight tied to that clutter. So I always think that it's a good place to take an inventory of ourselves, look at what's going on, where are we in our life in terms of what chapter are we in, what are the goals we want to accomplish, and what are the steps that we're taking to get there. So whether it's a physical goal, whether you want to lose weight or you want to be more proficient at something, look at that and start there. And then I like to look at the physical space. So yesterday we did some decluttering here at our house, and I found some things that were kind of interesting. I'm just going to show them. So this is an old-fashioned ruler. It's very hard. It's made out of some kind of metal. But what I thought was so interesting about it is there's a phone number on here. And for those of you who remember these days, the phone numbers here in the States started with letters. So it was DE2, 46, et cetera, et cetera. DE2 instead of whatever your area code is and then the next three digits. So I thought that was kind of interesting because this has to be very old and it's very heavy. Now we have much lighter ways of measuring. And then the next things I found were these photos of shoes. They're actually, I had them hanging somewhere at one point in my life. So there was this one, and then there was this one. And of course, I've always been an aficionado of loving shoes. And the more interesting, the more different they were, the more I wanted them. I've kind of backed away from that and I've moved on to sneakers. But there's also some things that I found that kind of made me very emotional. And that's why I'm bringing them up now at this part of the show, because there's really a link between decluttering and mental clarity. And sometimes I think there are things that we have inside of us that maybe are still there and they're pulling on us. So I found a couple of cards from my mother, and I started to read the one, and I just started crying. So I couldn't read it. And I thought, you know what, I am happy that I have these cards, but I can't go back there at this point in time because I think of my mom every day. So that's kind of hard for me. But so I have them. I'm glad that I had saved them and put them away, and I have more of them than those. And then I found some photographs, and I'm only going to show photographs where it's, you know, in my family or that I have permission to, because I have a lot of photographs of other times in my life, but I don't have the permission. I didn't ask for permission. So here's a really cute one of me and my sister. We were so young there. I mean, look at that. So cute. And then here's another one of my sister with me and with our dad. He passed away in 2012. I think that was when I graduated with my master's degree. So that would have been 1994. And then I found this gem of me with some swimming, what are they called? I guess I got an award for a badge for swimming. So I didn't even know that because I just started swimming again. I thought, wow, I didn't know I was ever any proficient at it. And then there's one of me with my mother at my wedding. That was in 1993. And there's one, of course, of my dad with me at the wedding, for those of you who thought I was never married. And then one of my parents walking in was at the Bellevue Stratford Hotel at the time in Philadelphia. And then just a couple of other fun ones. Here's another one with me and my dad. I think we were in New York at Le Cirque, and I don't know that that's there anymore. I'm not sure. And then this one, somewhere in New Year's Eve. I don't know what I was thinking, but I look quite content, I would say. Pretty happy. And then this is my favorite. This is from the car show. And I think that was, I don't know, it was obviously before the pandemic, but it brings you back, right? They're memories, and you think about, oh, well, I used to look like this, and I went here and I did that and I did this, and it brings up a lot of emotion. So I think it's good to get them out there and then kind of move on. So you sit with them and then you put them away and you look at where you are today and how much you've to be grateful for. So I feel like with the different types of clutter, we're talking about physical clutter, going through closets, going through the garage, maybe going through your car, maybe going through your briefcase. Sometimes we hold on to things. So for example, like these cards from my mom, I'm holding on to them because that's the last of her writing really that I have. So it's sentimental. But at the same time, I could end up in a pool of tears, wallowing in a corner, how much I miss my mother. So I have to put a boundary in place and say, okay, let's continue to move on. You know, I love my mom, I think, for all the time, but I have to keep going forward. So go through your closets, maybe because we are changing the season here in the States, and maybe outside of the US, you're also changing, but for the opposite season, and maybe move the one set of clothes to another closet and bring the other ones that are more appropriate for this. And go through your kitchens, go through your workspaces. Even what I love to do is when I'm on a plane and I don't have Wi-Fi, I will just go into my photographs on my phone and I'll just start deleting them. And I'll just start deleting the ones that I definitely don't need. And if you think about it, in my experience, if you're on WhatsApp, a lot of times people will post photographs if you're in a group chat, and then they end up on your device. So sometimes they're not even photographs that you wanted, that someone just posted them. So I'll go and just save space. And it's a good way to look at things that you did, look at your memories by just decluttering the photograph section of your phone, and also the same of your computer. Look at your email boxes. What can you declutter there? What can you get rid of? So you're basically clearing out to make room for more. And something that I have to deal with on a regular basis is clearing out my hard drive, because we have so much content. We have to move it over to external hard drives. And so this computer that I use, it has so much storage. And so I consistently, I would say weekly, have to be moving things out. We typically move all of our shows over after the show takes place so that we have more room. But I really want us to focus on mental decluttering. And I want to talk a little bit about social media. So if you're following me, of course, I'm on all the platforms. I'm very active on social media because our business is on social media as well as other platforms. So I am continuously on there. And of course, I want to give back to people who are giving to me. So I'll go and look at other people's posts. But I think sometimes people get so caught up in what someone else is doing that it really brings them down. And it brings them to a level where they're not able to be productive or to be happy in their own space. So let's look at that. How are you using social media and how's it coming up for you? I'd like to think that the shows that we do are providing education so that when you're tuning in, you're actually walking away with something that's of value. All right, so decluttering inside mentally is an ongoing process, right? We only have so much space in our brain for certain things. So what I like to ask people to do is think about how are you spending your time mentally? Because remember, I've taught this in a number of my classes. Even though you're with someone, you're in a conversation with someone, you're in a meeting with people, that doesn't mean that you're truly present. So what is it that's taking up the most space in your brain? And think about, are you spending a lot of time looking back and kind of regretting, like when I just shared these photographs with you? Are you looking at how it used to be and thinking I'd like it to be like that? Or are you looking at the future and saying, I hope and pray this happens? Or are you actually living for today and seeing what you can accomplish today? To me, that's really important. So I purposefully, when I think about how much brain span I have, I don't live in the past. People will say to me, do you remember when we had this conversation, XYZ? And I really don't, if it's 20 years ago, 10 years ago, because I purposely have chosen to keep my brain space for where I am today. Because before I check out of this planet, there's a number of things that I really want to accomplish. So I have to focus on today. So think about, where are you mentally spending your time? And how can you declutter by being present and being focused and being determined on whatever it is that you want to accomplish while you're here? I think that that's really a way of simplifying your life. So I'd like us to look at why it is that we hold on to things. Okay, so for example, I just shared with you about this metal ruler. Okay, this was my parents. I don't even know, maybe it was their parents, I'm not sure. But for some reason, this was held on to as opposed to letting it go, along with a lot of other things that we get rid of. I think it's for the just in case. One day I might need this. One day this might be useful. Or there's really nothing wrong with this. There's no reason to get rid of it. Why would I get rid of it when I just have to go and buy a new one? Even though as we are evolving as a species, we always come up with something that's better, lighter, more accessible, whatever it is. That might be tied to fear of waste or guilt for spending money. So think about that. A lot of times we will hold on to something that maybe has already outlived its use, but we don't want to spend money to get something new because we already have something that's working. So why not just figure it out? And that's a viable solution. But if you happen to have, multiple rulers that are like this, maybe you can ask yourself, is it possible for me to downsize? Could I give away the other ones? And that brings me to the next point, which I love. So we did a lot of decluttering yesterday, as I mentioned, and put things out at the curb. And I just love when you see people pull up, they just zoom up and they start going through all your stuff, which is great because you wanted to find a new home. And then they take the stuff that they want, if they pick through everything, and then they go. And what I think is really humorous is that they don't leave what they don't want in an orderly manner. Typically, they just start going through everything, and then it's kind of a mess and you have to go back out there and deal with it. But that's another story. So there are some of the reasons why we hold on to things. It's just in case. Maybe we have a sentimental attachment to it. We are upset thinking that we might be spending money that we really can't spend. Or maybe we feel like it's part of our identity, so that if we get rid of that, we might be asking, well, what if I have to prove who I am? And that happens a lot. So I think for some practical tips for decluttering, as I mentioned, let's say you're going to declutter a closet. You allow a certain amount of time. You set a boundary, and the boundary is I'm going to spend X number of hours cleaning out this closet. And by the time I'm finished, my goal is maybe to have that the closet's empty, or my goal is I want to have so many pieces of clothing that I'm going to donate. When we donate, it's sort of that circular fashion, then our items have another lifeline. And I love to do that. I do that all the time. And even when you're buying something, can you consider going to a vintage shop, or maybe buying it on Facebook Marketplace, not a paid spokesperson, or somewhere else where someone else has used it, but it's still in great condition, and then you can give it a second life. So think about that. And then I want you to think about, when you get rid of something, are you then replacing it right away? And I've got an example, and this is with a pet, for example. This happens a lot. Okay, we lose a pet. I happen to lose 3 dogs, and then we decide we were going to go out and get another pet when we didn't even have the time to grieve for the pet or pets that we had. And so I would ask you, maybe take some time to honor your pet and not get another pet just for a while, just to see how your life goes. Is this still a good time for you to have a pet? It's almost like a broken relationship. How many times people will literally jump into a new relationship because they don't want to sit with that emptiness. So you don't necessarily have to, whether it's a physical thing or whether it's a relationship, end one, get rid of one, and then replace it with something else. Maybe just sit in the silence, sit in the new space where you are, and see how that feels. See how that's coming up for you. I've noticed a number of people that I've met in the course of my life who have an extensive amount of items that when you go into their home, it's almost like you feel like you can't breathe. Have you ever had that feeling? There's so much stuff. There's stuff everywhere. All the walls are covered with stuff. All the tables are covered with stuff. And you feel like there's not even any place for you to be there. And you wonder, what's going on? Of course, there's no judgment. You just know there's a lot of stuff. So think about how much clutter you have physically and how much do you have mentally, and how can you offload the mental clutter that you have. The physical, we can understand. And I've watched a number of programs where people were in fact hoarders, and people were brought in to help them release their attachment to these items. Because what happens is, in the cases that I've seen, people literally had no room in their home for themselves to move around because they were so enveloped with stuff. And in some cases, it's interesting, people were collecting newspapers or magazines, and they're piled up so high that you can't even walk around them. And in other cases, I've seen where there was so much clutter that it invited in insects and creatures into a sink that's overfilled with dishes that have never been cleaned. So there definitely is a connection between calm and chaos when it comes to decluttering. Okay, so I want to go on to some other tips. If you haven't used something in a certain amount of time, maybe it's time to let it go. So there's something called the 90-90 rule, so that if you haven't used it in 90 days and you won't use it in the next 90 days, then let it go. Some people will use a rule of maybe a year or a 2-year limit. So if I haven't worn XYZ dress in a year, then I should donate it. I should get rid of it. I should give it to someone in the family. So think about it. Could you have a 90-90 rule if you haven't used it for 90 days and you won't use it for 90 days? Maybe it's time to do something with it. And you might ask yourself, well, what exactly could I do with it? So there's actually something called the 4-box method, which was new to me, but I found it when I was doing my research. It's basically keep, donate, recycle, or trash. And one thing I want you to think about in terms of trash, because I honestly never thought about this until I started broadcasting. When you put something out at the corner or wherever, down a chute, or put it into a dumpster, where does it exactly go? And wherever it's going, how's it going to be broken down? So if you think about furniture, for example, and you put that out on the curb, if someone doesn't pick that up, or you don't donate it, or maybe Salvation Army or one of the worthy charities picks it up, where exactly does it go? So it takes up space, and we have to be aware of this. Maybe if you broke it down, took it apart, and then put it out, maybe the wood could be used as something else. I'm not sure. So I'm just making suggestions and thoughts for you to consider. So again, the 4-box method is you have 4 boxes: one's to keep, one's to donate, one's to recycle, and one's for trash. I also think it's important to start out with a small project. And the project could be, I know for me, wherever I've lived, typically, a lot of stuff ends up in one specific drawer in the kitchen. Do you have that? Like there's a drawer that just has, it could have coins, it can have thread and needle, it can have a retractable tape measure, whatever it is. I'm thinking of things that I have. And everything just ends up in there: buttons, receipts, everything's in a drawer. And then one day you're kind of like, wow, what is in this drawer? It's taking up space that I could use. So set a project. And then what I think is a great idea is set a timer. So I'm going to go on my phone and set a timer. I'm going to clean out this drawer for the next, I don't know, 30 minutes, and then use the strategy of the 4 boxes. Whatever I find, I'm going to make a decision at that moment. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to recycle it. I'm going to donate it. I'm going to put it into trash, and then really be committed to that. Because once you're finished with this basic exercise, you can move on to more exercises, meaning what's in here and getting rid of the clutter. And once you clear out that one drawer, you will feel empowered. It might not be the greatest thing in the world when you think about accomplishments, but you actually did something and created more space. And that's really what this show is about: creating more space so that you can have more energy and more creativity and more ideas. All right. So when you think about what's going on up here, the benefits of decluttering are really this: you have more space, so you have less stress. Less stress, you get more things done. Excuse me. You have greater focus and creativity. Easier cleaning and organizing frees up time and money and helps redefine priorities and values. All right, I want you to think about that, and we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors, and then we'll be back shortly to revisit this. Take a look at our branded merchandise.
Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
Welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio. We'd love to have you subscribe to our 2 channels, USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. JACALYN KERBECK over on YouTube. Okay, our show today is You as a Whole, Body, Mind, and Soul. I am the interim host, filling in for Justin Mirigliani. And our topic today is From Chaos to Calm, the inner peace of decluttering. We've talked a lot about physical decluttering, and we've talked somewhat about emotional decluttering. we're going to continue our journey and our story right now. So, how can you look beyond just things and declutter your life? So, the first thing that you can do, my suggestion is simplify your calendar. When you think about what it is that you're doing and all the tasks that you have and all the goals that you have, how often are you saying yes to things that might not serve you or might not help you achieve your goals? So simplify your calendar, learn how to say no. Okay, another one which seems really clear and simple, but I know I don't do it as often as I should. Set a boundary for your devices. Anything that's electronic, set a boundary. And I will give an example of this. So when I go to the gym to work out, I will leave my phone in my locker because I want to be completely present when I'm working out so that I'm not distracted. I see so many people at the gym or even walking or whatever, they're constantly on the phone. And I've done this sometimes, but I'm really aware of it and trying not to do it as much. But people are so focused on the phone, they're not even watching where they're going. So maybe you set some boundaries for yourself that when you're going to be exercising, for example, or when you're with your family, or if you're sitting down at the dinner table, or if you're driving, how many times are people driving? You see them with the phone. You maybe set a boundary because that'll help you eliminate some of the stress that you have because you're not now taxing your mind to do something else at the same time. I want you to think about practicing mindfulness to help declutter your thoughts. So when you start feeling overwhelmed, you start feeling stressed, I always like to identify how is it I'm feeling right now? All the negative emotions that come up. I'm feeling afraid. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling anxious. And then put something behind it. What is it that's causing that? And then how do you eliminate it? How do you minimize it? So I like to think about prayer. I like to think about affirmations. I like to think about meditation. Many times our first go-to is to contact someone else. So we're highly charged up and stressed, and then we just contact someone else and put it all on them. And then you feel better. And then they're like, why do I answer the phone? Why do I agree to the meeting? So I always encourage people to work on things themselves before they start reaching out. If you get to the point where you can't do it yourself, of course, get some help. There are plenty of people who will help you. So I like to think that we're empowered. We have the power to look at ourselves and say, okay, I am capable of fixing this. I'm capable of finding the solution, or I've done everything in my capacity to do this. And I realize that it's out of my control. So I need some help. I want us to also think about when we come to decluttering about sustainability. So you've heard about paying back, giving back, being a good citizen, helping others. Think about the knowledge and experience that you have in your life. How can you share that? Okay, that's what I'm doing here. I'm building a legacy along with my team. We're building a legacy of education that we're giving back to people. So wherever you are watching this, you are not paying to watch it. This is free programming that you're watching. So I'm giving information to help you, and I'm asking you, how can you help someone else? So that's a great way of decluttering because you have so many skills and talents. Why not offer them to help someone? Okay, the next thing I want to offer out to you in terms of how you can help declutter is I want you to do a quick exercise with me. So I want you to pick up something that is within arm's reach of you right now that you no longer need. Look around your surroundings. Is there something there that you really, truly do not need? And I actually have something right here an arm's length away. I'm going to share it. So I have these sunglasses. They have been sitting in this case on my desk literally for years. The lenses are completely trashed from over time. The polarization, the oxidization, whatever it is gone. And they're too big. They're too big. They will not fit on my face. So with glasses, I found sometimes you can take them to an optician and they can put them in this substance and it actually makes the they fit your face better. But these lenses would definitely have to be replaced. So I'd have to look into that and say, well, do I want to spend the money, or am I just going to get rid of it? And this probably would be a recycle. Probably be recycled because it is plastic. So that's just an idea. We all have something in our life, I'm sure. I mean, I can't make a general statement without putting a disclaimer. Possibly there's something that you have that you could let go of. The next thing I'm going to ask you to do is, what about setting a goal for yourself that this week you will declutter one drawer? One drawer in your home, you will declutter. And if you are living in a home that maybe you don't have drawers, maybe there's something that you can declutter out of your schedule. Maybe there's something you can declutter out of your phone or your computer or your device. Maybe there are things that you can clear out to make more space. So decluttering is really about making room for more of what matters, making room for what might come that you have no idea about. And something I like to share about this is, when I first started doing broadcasting, people would come to me and they'd say, how can I get a show, or how can I host with you? What does that look like? And then if they would leave for some reason because life changes and they would go, I would take it personally. Or for example, with our newsletters, which we haven't had one in a while, it's a lot of work, and just haven't gotten back to it. But when we were doing our newsletters, I would look to see what the click rate was, and then also the unsubscribe rate. And I would see someone's name, someone I knew, and I thought, how could they unsubscribe from my newsletter? I thought they liked me. And as time goes on, I realized that those things happen. We can't take it personally. We have to let go of one relationship so a new one can come in. And I really believe in that now. So when someone tells me I'm not going to be able to do this, I say, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. And I wish you well in whatever it is you're going to do, because I know something new is going to come. And I'll give an example. So we were going to be doing a retreat, and the retreat did not sell out. So we could have waited a couple of additional weeks to see if more people would sign up. But after all the marketing that we did, I really thought to myself, this retreat was not meant to be at this time. So I let go of the retreat. And now it turns out that weekend, some other things have come up that I'm going to be doing. So it all makes sense. There's always a plan. We might not know what the plan is. So I'm asking you to consider letting go of something that you've been holding on to that you know does not serve you. If it's a habit, it's a behavior, it's a person, it's a thing, what if you let go of it? And sometimes I know people start panicking. They get this sick feeling inside. How could I stop drinking coffee? Okay, I've never had a cup of coffee in my life, so that is not a problem for me. But I know for some people that really is. So you have to look at, what is it that is on the other side of you giving up coffee? Now, is there a reason for you to give up coffee? I'm just using that as an example. Maybe you just drink a cup or two a day. I have no idea. Maybe you're drinking so much coffee, or you're drinking espresso, or you're drinking those caffeine drinks, and you're putting them all together and you're constantly shaking, and you're wondering what's going on, why you feel so unstable. So maybe if you let go of that, you could replace it with water, and maybe you might not feel well for a little while because you have to get the caffeine out of your system, but maybe eventually you feel great. And then you save yourself money because you don't have to buy the coffee. You save yourself time because you don't have to make the coffee. And who knows what's out there for you? Maybe your skin looks better. Who knows? But until we let go of something, we're not going to find out. So I hope that you found some value in today's session, and it was earlier than normal because it is Labor Day here in the States, and this is my 7th show today that I've either hosted or have been producing. So I'm going to be taking the rest of the evening off just to do some administrative work, but I do want to share with you, you can see on either side of me my books. This one has been out. It's the 2nd edition of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. And this is updated, and it includes a topic of judgment detox. And this is my new book, which is Holy But Harmful. And it really came about as a result of some things that happened to me. And it really brought some awareness to me about how much judgment we all have in this world. So if you're judging me for the book cover, I'll actually show you the big preview of it. Holy but harmful, the silent sin of judgment, how hidden judgments destroy relationships and damage lives. You may be looking at that and judging me just for writing it. You may be looking at it and judging me because of the cover, or because I put the word holy in there, or because I put the word sin in there. Well, in this show, this book, here's the show, is for you. Judgment, the hidden sin, how judgment shapes our relationships, workplaces, and beliefs. This is not meant to call anyone out. It's not meant to name, blame, shame. It's meant to bring awareness, because we all are guilty of judgment. But I have become much more aware of when I am judging and how I'm judging and when I'm being judged. And so when I am being judged, I've made a point not to say anything in retaliation. And people will say things to me that are off the cuff and they think it's funny, or they are well-meaning, but it's actually sometimes passive aggressive, or it's actually confrontational. And so I'm aware of it. I'm aware of what I'm saying to someone, because now that I understand about judgment, I've done a significant amount of research. This new book over here, this book is based on scientific research, as well as biblical scripture, as well as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's all APA references. So I hope that you will look forward to ordering this book. You can actually pre-order it on Amazon. And then the new TV show in alignment with the book starts on Wednesday. And my first guest is Al Cini, and we are going to be talking about judgment and the toxic workplace, which will also go into toxic leadership. So again, the reason for writing this book is because it aligns with my other book. Both of these go together. They're about elevated listening, which I've trademarked. And it's all about how we as individuals, as humans, can find compassion, empathy, and gratitude, how we can live a peaceful existence, because I really feel that's what's needed in this world from my standpoint. I, on Saturday, took an oath as a peace ambassador. I take it very seriously. I went through some very interesting and comprehensive training, and I'll leave you with this, as I'm doing on all of my shows. I am a peace ambassador, and I am going to empower you, whomever you are watching right now. You have the opportunity to take action to find peace. These 5 peace actions are from World Citizen Peace. So here they are. Seek peace within yourself and others. It starts with you. Instead of pointing, look at this guy, look at this girl, look at this person, and say, what can I do to change this situation? What is the solution I can implement, instead of standing in judgment of someone else? Seek peace within yourself and others. Reach out in service. I mentioned this earlier. All of us have expertise and knowledge. How can we help someone else? How can we give back, whether it's through philanthropy or volunteering? Maybe it's just within your own family, taking the time to bring your expertise and knowledge to someone else. Maybe it's sharing your stories of what you went through in your life to help someone else feel like they're not alone. Protect the environment. It's so important. What are you doing with your trash? What are you doing with your leftover food? What are you doing when you are driving? Are you throwing things out of the window? Think about, where is it going to go? Who's going to take care of it? Respect diversity. I have been traveling around, and I am so happy and grateful that I've met people who don't sound like me, they don't look like me, and they don't have the similar story that I have, because I am curious. I want to learn about other people, about other cultures. I want to learn how people listen in other cultures. I want to learn what people think they need to have a peaceful life. And finally, be a responsible citizen of the world. We are all here. No one of us is more important than the other. It doesn't matter what your title is. It doesn't matter what your status is. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It matters how you and I treat other people. So thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for showing up for others. And thank you for taking the time to watch this show or listen to it, whether it's on a podcast platform, television network, or on social media. Thank you very much for taking the time. I look forward to being back with you again. In the meantime, please do go over and subscribe to our channels. We have so many incredible shows with people from all over the world who are doing just an amazing job bringing world-class education. And now we will sign off. And happy Labor Day to those of you who are celebrating in the States. And thank you for the opportunity to come into your home, into your office, into your phone, wherever you are. I really appreciate you. God bless you. Take care of you and go in peace. USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book, Dementia Home Care, How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.